Welcome to part 3 in my Iridium series. In this series, I'm going to talk about the effects of taking Iridium for the last week on myself. And I have to say, the effects are impressive. First, let me talk about the process in general when I do a new metal. First, I test it on myself for a while, make sure that it's okay. Check the stability of the product. That's it after a week, and I can confirm that it is very stable, probably long-term stable, many months. But that's yet to be determined until I have it for many months. But anyway, there's not a lot of information out there about what it does. In alchemist speak, it's kind of like the super secret sauce where there's only a few of us that are actually taking it. Me, and I'm new to it. I've wanted Iridium for a long time, and I finally got a hold of a piece through donation from one of my supporters. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, and I'm able to test the metal myself. Now, Iridium is part of the gold group. Gold, platinum, palladium, and those metals all tend to have similar properties like anti-inflammatory properties, mental boost properties, energy properties. And so I was kind of surprised that Iridium didn't kind of track with those things. But I made a list of stuff here. And let me just cover the stuff that I expected it to have, but it didn't have, okay? First, no anti-inflammatory benefits outside of what I'm getting from the gold, the platinum, and the palladium. No increase in meditation ability or intuition, as far as gold tends to boost the mental aspect of things, and so does platinum and palladium. And I was under the impression that Iridium would boost some of that nature, but it did boost the superconscious, which I talked about in the last video, but it didn't do anything for the subconscious mind or the conscious mind. It didn't have any pain relief. I mean, everyone has aches and pains, and I have my share of aches and pains every now and then that hit me on a daily basis. And it didn't seem to affect that at all. So there was no pain relief at all with Iridium either. It hasn't helped my restless leg syndrome, to be honest. I have restless leg syndrome, and I take magnesium and indium for restless leg syndrome, which tends to work fairly well. But not 100%. I do have my nights where I still have restless leg syndrome. Not as bad, because of the magnesium and indium that I'm taking for it, but the Iridium didn't do anything for that at all. Okay, now let's come to what it did do. Now, I'm taking a teaspoon twice a day, but perfectly honest, I did that in the beginning, and I didn't really notice anything outside of the first night that I took it in the evenings. And I couldn't sleep all night long. But sometimes I have nights where I can't sleep. So I can't 100% say that it was due to the Iridium. Since the first night, I've been able to sleep. And I didn't actually notice any effects for the first couple days. So I was kind of disappointed. I'm like, no effects for a couple days? Really? I mean, no super consciousness, no connection to everything there is, the quantum level of reality, which is what in alchemy speak most people talk about with Iridium. So I was kind of like disappointed, but that was only for the first couple days. So the first thing that I did notice, besides I noticed more energy and less fatigue throughout my day. Now gold and platinum, they're also boost energy and anti-fatigue as well. But I did feel a little bit more energetic and less fatigue than maybe I normally do, even though I go all day long. I mean, the gold and the platinum and the palladium, it just keeps me going and going and going. And well, titanium too is also part of that. Well, part of that energy package. Although titanium is not part of this metal group that we're talking about of gold, platinum, palladium, and iridium. But the big thing that I did notice after the third day was more emotional balance. This could be important for those of you that have depression. And sometimes I get depressed. Hey, life gets you down. But, lately I've had a lot of depressed days. But I have to say that since I'm on the Iridium, I'm no longer, my emotional levels are really calm. Just like, and I don't have any depressive episodes anymore. So that is the big thing that I did not expect at all, was to have emotional stability. I didn't think we had any nanoparticles that really were going to work on that sort of thing. But yet it did. I mean, if you think about it, Iridium works on the brain. And it probably is targeting the centers in the brain that chemically keep our brains kind of like stable to a certain extent, so we don't have these ups and downs. And somehow Iridium is able to stabilize them, at least for me anyway. So that is really big and important, as far as me goes. Now, what else? Okay, enhanced deep sleep. Now, I know that first night it kept me awake, but after that, I actually was getting extremely deep levels of sleep once I could get to sleep. And I'd wake up extremely refreshed in the mornings. But I have to say that was also something I did not expect on a physical level. General increase in eyesight, clarity, and my ability to focus. I've been working on eyesight. When I was younger, from 20 to 40 years old, I had laser eyesight. I mean, I could see tiny, tiny things. Let's face it, I used to work in electronics, and one of the things I used to repair was the heads on dot matrix printers. I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but there's these tiny, fine needles in the tiny thing that used to print out letters. You can see how small they were. Well, I was able to see those things without glasses. Then I hit 40, and like everybody else, the vision started going down and down and down. So I missed that laser sight vision. So I'm always looking for ways of improving my vision, and I have a whole bunch of routines and nanoparticles that do increase my vision quality. And what I'm working on is improving my vision so I can get the reading part of my vision back. I've restored through the nanoparticle use and a few other techniques. I was able to restore my mid-vision. No more blurry people when I look at people. They're clear and they're sharp. But the Iridium actually has helped that mid-vision even more. I've noticed a degree, like in the mornings, I can actually read my digital watch without any glasses at all. That doesn't last right now. It may only last a half hour or so, and then the vision kind of goes back to its normal, the close vision goes back to its normal thing where I need reading glasses. But it does show that there, maybe long-term use of Iridium could be restoring the focus ability of my eyes. We'll have to see. I'm hopeful on that. So that was another surprising thing that I did not expect from a metal that's supposed to connect you to the quantum level consciousness. The rest of the stuff is more quantum level, all right? And increase in reality creating power. And what that is what you think about, you manifest. So one of the things that I've become a master of is understanding reality creating and how you create your world with your thoughts and your feelings and your actions. Well, the science isn't 100%. Let's put it that way. And sometimes you do the focus and the energy, and nothing happens. Well, I have to say that since I'm on the Iridium, maybe because that quantum level connection is starting to build, it's much easier for me to manifest things. Like, think about what I want to happen. I'm very careful on how I do that. Send the energy out, and more times it is manifesting than it was before. It's still not 100%, but let's just say it's gone up, less failure rate, more manifesting. Now, will that continue in the future? I don't know. We're going to find out, but I am intrigued by it. This is another weird one, okay? Perception of time has changed. You guys that are young, as you get older, your perception of time changes. I mean, when you're 10 years old, the summer lasts about 150 years. Really. And when you're off for the summer from school, it's like, by the time you get to the end of the summer, it's like, wow, I almost want to get back to school because it looks like you've lived several lifetimes. But as you get older, that shortens. Your perception of time changes. Days go by faster and faster and faster. And I know people always said this, and I was always like one of those skeptics, like, yeah, how could time change? How could your perception of time change? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, an hour is an hour or whatever it is. And, but that's not the case, as any of you, as you're getting older, is find out that the pages of the calendar, they start out like this. And all of a sudden, they go faster and faster and faster. And before you know it, you're awake, asleep, and, days, weeks, months go by, and you're like, oh, wow, wasn't it only summer the last few days ago? Anyway, Iridium has changed my perception of time. It is kind of stabilized. It's not crazy anymore. I actually feel like I got something out of my day, and my evenings too, when I sleep. I kind of feel like they just didn't go by in a blur. So that is an amazing kind of change. Something else that I did not actually expect to happen. That my perception of time was going to be affected by Iridium, but it has been. I'm like, whoa, what does that mean down the road? I'm going to hopefully we're going to investigate that even more. One last ability, quantum level ability, is my ability to heal myself and others. I'm a healer, have been a healer for years. It's part of the alchemist thing. And I've noticed that the Iridium, I guess because it's connecting me to the quantum level, which is the faster than light stuff that goes on in reality, that through the healing work is how healing work works, through faster than light particles. So my personal healing myself is increased, healing lab assistant Kilo, which constantly needs attention here and there, and healing other people long distance wise. Yes, us healers can heal people long distance if you haven't been aware of that. And so that has increased, which is kind of significant if you think about it. So, who knows, right? There's definitely some quantum level stuff going on with Iridium I didn't notice with gold or platinum or palladium. I didn't see any though increase in these weird quantum level abilities that I've been experiencing. But I will like to say that I've experimented with taking nasal spray dosages of nanoparticles in the hopes that if you use the nasal spray, you require less of it. Iridium is a really expensive metal, and to be perfectly honest, I can't get any more of it. The sources have all dried up. So I'm looking for ways to increase the Iridium that I have, because the 1 gram piece of Iridium that I have is not going to last very long. Let's place it. And if I don't have a replacement Iridium, I can't actually offer Iridium to anybody on the website. I might be able to send some out to the testers, and they may get really angry at me if I can't send them any more, because I'm depleting the source of Iridium here. So that's a problem. So I'm experimenting with nasal spray dosage of Iridium, and some of the metals just don't work well with nasal spray dosages. Like gold doesn't seem to really work with nasal spray dosages of itself. Neither does platinum. But Iridium, seems to work very well with nasal spray dosages of the stuff. So that it could be a way to extend the iridium. Take my teaspoon. That's what I've been doing. Taking my teaspoon of iridium in the morning, and then supplementing that with nasal spray dosages throughout the day. But be honest, the iridium works so well. Maybe I can just get away with nasal spray dosages and not the teaspoon in the morning. It was only been a week, so I haven't had a lot of time to really experiment with the variations on this thing. And right now, because of my nice emotional balance that I'm experiencing, I don't want to change anything. You know what I mean? The teaspoon in the morning is working, plus the of the nasal spray during the day. I'm like, I'm having a good old time here right now with this emotional balance that I'm experiencing. So I can take it one day at a time and see what happens. But that is my initial results of Iridium, and I share with all of you. And hopefully, we'll get to a part 4 on this and see what the testers say, and if their stuff jives with mine, or they have even different results outside of what I kind of have. So, alchemists, have fun, enjoy your week, your day, whatever. Take care.